his ideas about Enochian initiation, Enochian practice, and some of the technical aspects of it. And then we also get into some of the ideological aspects of kind of the underlying beliefs and how those beliefs manifest in the actual practice within it. And in particular, we get into kind of the religious or secular approach, or the psychological or non-psychological existence of entities and things like that. So here's the interview with Frater W.I.T. We have on the phone with us Frater W.I.T. Scott, are you there?
I'm here.
Welcome to the podcast, 93.
93, thank you for having me.
You've released a book called Enochian Initiation, a Thelemite's magical journey into the ultimate transcendence. And when I first saw that you had this book, I thought it was going to be kind of a manual on how to do Enochian magic. And I was really surprised when I got it. And it was, started reading it and everything, it was actually kind of your journal and your notes and your experiences going through the tables and talking to the seniors and talking to the kings and so forth. And I thought that was a really unique and different take. This is more akin to kind of like Crowley's Vision in the Voice than some of the other books that are out there, are the how-to books. What kind of inspired you to put the book out in the first place?
Okay, well, I've been involved in occultism for the last 20 years, and I've practiced a number of different systems, primarily Hermetic Kabbalah. I'm a member of the OTO. I've been a member of an offshoot order of the Golden Dawn. I've been all through that. I've done a lot of Golden Dawn magic. What I found was that most books on magic are either a history or a listing of rituals and things like that. And what I've noticed is that while a lot of people that I've met enjoy reading these books, very few actually practice the rituals. And it seems to me that people, it just somehow didn't spark their imagination enough to get them going. So I thought that, well, maybe if people could understand the incredible results that they could get by practicing magic, it would inspire people to actually do the rituals and practice the magic rather than just reading about it and talking about it. Mm-hmm. I myself have been very inspired by Aleister Crowley's book, The Vision and the Voice, which is his series of visions operating the 30 ethers, which is one of the various systems of Enochian magic that John Dee and Edward Kelly developed, in Elizabethan times. So I've been amazed by Crowley's personal experiences, and really, he's one of the few writers out there that will actually talk about his experiences. So that's what I wanted to do.
Now, unlike Crowley, who went through the 30 ethers, you went through the 5 tables, the 4 elementals, or I guess the 5th spirit, or the table of union. And you went through and you talked to the various seniors, kings, and so forth of the various quadrants. Why did you decide to do that instead of doing the ethers? Because many people do the ethers and kind of replicate Crowley's work. Why did you decide to go through the quadrants?
Okay, well, as I describe in my book, I was involved in a magical workshop with a magical partner, and she and I had done a variety of work from Golden Dawn books, even some interesting work out of Cornelius Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy. It's interesting that while the Golden Dawn drew a great many systems of their magic from Agrippa's 3 books, they didn't get it all. So my magical partner and I wanted to really experiment and try some things that few people out there were doing. At one point, the results that we were getting at the time were interesting but not really amazing. Nothing really seemed to break through to another reality, if you will, or another level of mind. So I had read about Enochian magic for a long time. I had read The Vision and the Voice several times, and certainly reading about Golden Dawn magic, I knew of the use of the Watchtower system, which are 4 matrices of Enochian letters, and then there's a 5th tablet called the Tablet of Union, which has the 4 special divine names in Enochian that are used to control the 4 elemental tablets. And they had been used in Golden Dawn initiation, and I had just come out of a Golden Dawn style order, an offshoot, if you will. Plus I had received some initiation in the OTO, which takes after Freemasonry. So I thought, well, I'm on my own now, and I was the one running the workshop, so I thought, well, maybe I can take my initiatory experiences farther and get closer to the Golden Dawn egregore, if you will, or their group mind, and by using the Enochian tablets in a more direct way. Now, the Golden Dawn takeoff of John Dee's system is rather complex. They added a lot to the system, or I should say MacGregor Mathers, who ran the order for most of its history, added a lot to the Watchtower system that wasn't there originally, namely making each square of these matrices of letters into a truncated pyramid, and there's a wide variety of symbols added to these squares, and so that each square of each tablet was made into an entire gestalt of symbols. This seemed very complex to me, and I know that John Dee's original intention was to use the tablets like others of his time had used magical tablets to draw the names of angels, the names of various spirits. So that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to approach the 30 ether system like Crowley did because I felt that was extremely advanced magic. I wanted to do something at a simpler, easier level. And, of course, at the time I had heard all the warnings, Enochian magic is so powerful, if you just look at the tablets you might evoke some of these entities and they wreak havoc on your life and all that stuff. People say these things about other potentially powerful systems like the Goetia and various other medieval grimoires. I came to realize that these stories were exaggerated, and they were mainly being told by teachers who had come out of the Golden Dawn, who wanted to, I guess, on the one hand, protect people from themselves, but on the other to kind of guide students in a particular path that they might not otherwise want to go. Mm-hmm. Not everyone believes that any one particular system of training is the best training. Different things work for different people, but there are those out there who want everyone to follow their way, and that's unfortunate. So a lot of exaggerated and negative stories have been told by people who should know better, I feel. So I felt free to approach the Enochian systems of magic with a completely free hand.
Okay.
So I chose the Watchtower systems to extend my personal initiatory experiences, but outside the order context, outside of the Golden Dawn and outside of that paradigm or that setting, and work with it on my own. And the results that I got were amazing right off the bat, so I knew that I had finally struck the right track. And my magical partner completely agreed with me. With Enochian magic, we had really broken through our personal limitations in a way that no other system we played with and dealt with even came close.
Now, you mentioned further your initiation, and the book is called Enochian Initiation. What do you think the initiatory process was bringing you to? What going through the tables that you did and calling the various entities, what was the initiatory process? I mean, if you look at like the Golden Dawn or the OTO initiations or AA or any of these orders, they kind of have a fixed path that they're trying to initiate you up through. What was the Enochian initiation? What was it pushing you towards?
Right. Well, it's an interesting topic of conversation. See, originally I approached the Enochian watchtower system in an open way. I wasn't after any kind of further initiation. I was just looking for a powerful system of magic that could help me to break through to a more profound level of vision, a deeper level of consciousness than I had done previously. Prior to this, I had done several attempts at what they call self-initiation, where it's just you, your ritual, and your various paraphernalia to try and bring yourself to a higher level of magical function, a more intense level of vision and contact with entities, beyond the physical. But I had never gotten very far. What I found that after several experiences evoking the seniors of the tablets was that I was started to deal with the issues that had come up during my personal initiatory experiences within the group context that I had been describing, the Golden Dawn style and the Masonic style initiations, which, are group initiations. They're the instituted mysteries, as they're called. But here I was on my own, and for the first time, I had found something that actually helped me to deal with some of the issues that had been raised on my initiatory training in the orders. Mm-hmm. But here I was on my own. So what I'm trying to say is that I began to succeed on my own with things that before I had only been able to deal with in the group context. Okay. And so I had come to realize that these Enochian entities were continuing my initiatory process.
Okay. So where do you think, at the end of this process, at the end of the cycles that you went through, after you did the second round on the table of union and everything, where do you think you ended that process? I mean, obviously it's an ongoing process, but I mean, of that cycle.
Right. It's hard to describe in more general terms. What happened was that there was a certain level of consciousness that I was being introduced to, a certain level of intelligence that was developing within me, kind of like a seed was planted and it sprouted and it grew to fruition. There's a particular species of consciousness that I had been able to attain, and really the climax of the whole working was the second evocation of the Fire King on the fire tablet, and I broke through to a grand new level of operation that I had never dreamed of. And as I describe it in my book, the experience was so powerful, it actually extended its influence 17 years into my past. The 17 years prior to this experience, I had had a spontaneous vision completely out of the blue. This was before my magical career even began. I had been doing a lot of reading at the time, but I hadn't actually practiced any magic. But suddenly I had this vision of a great, wonderful hawk of blue fire, like it was sky blue colored fire, but against a night sky. But at the time, 17 years prior, it seemed very far off. Mm-hmm. And I heard it call to me. I had never heard that sound in my life beforehand. I can only describe it as a great cry of the hawk, and it just seemed to resound through just spaces beyond my imagination at the time. And it lasted for a few seconds, and then it ended. Well, 17 years later, I was evoking the king of fire, which is